ASMR Retro. Today I'm going to review this Fantastic Four comic. It's the first ever Fantastic Four from November of 1961. Now this is obviously a reprint. I wish I had the original, but yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool because the movie came out at the time of this recording. I have not seen it yet, but I definitely want to check it out. But yeah, here you go. And this came out in 1991, which I think was, must have been the 30th anniversary of the first issue. And now it's like almost 65 years. Wow, that's just crazy. Anyway, let's crack it open here. Now, what I really like about this is they left in the original old ads that were in the original comic. I'm assuming they were in the original, but these are actual old ads, and I love looking at this kind of stuff. But just very briefly, this one, pretty common in old comics, is like, oh, how to get in shape. Like, you're a skinny weakling, you want to be a strong muscle man, like you see in the comics. It says skinny or fat, 15, 20, 30, or 40 years of age. Or if you're over 40, forget about it. It also makes me think, who's the target audience for these comics, and you'll see more about what I mean in some of the later ads. But yeah, there's this guy. He's like, are you skinny like I was, a 90-pound weakling who became world's strongest man, George Jouet, before? I don't know what that is, but some strong man dude. Anyway, just thought that was funny to look at. Alright, here we go. The story begins. Here they are, Dr. Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Susan Storm, and Johnny Storm. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna kind of recap what's going on here. But it starts off here. You can see the Fantastic Four, like this poofy cloud. And when I saw that, I thought it was just like some artistic way. Like, I thought it was just a cloud, but they put that as like the title. But that wasn't actually there. But that is supposed to be there. So I don't know what kind of tech this is, but it's coming from this building here. And everyone's looking and kind of freaked out. And the cops see it and it's like, what's going on? What does it mean? Why? Blah, blah, blah. And someone mentions rumors of an alien invasion. But then you see here, that's Reed Richards, of course, and he's the one who fired it. And he says, it is the first time I have found it necessary to give the signal. I pray it will be the last. So I guess that was kind of like their bad signal or whatever. I'm not sure if they, kept doing that in future issues, but anyway, so I guess that's the fantasy, or I guess that's Reed Richards' crib. He's chilling in his crib, and for some reason he wants to summon the Fantastic Four. So that was the first thing Mr. Reed Richards, I guess, Dr. Reed Richards, says. Okay, so now we see Susan Storm in another part of town, chilling with a friend, and having tea or whatever, and the friend sees the signal outside. And she's like, yo, I'm being summoned, I gotta disappear for some reason. So she disappears, and she takes off, and her friend's like kind of freaked out. Like, yo, what's going on? And that's kind of weird. Like, why didn't she just like go outside first and then turn invisible? Like, why'd she have to turn invisible at this point anyway? I don't know, bro. But then she's just knocking people over. She's like, get the hell out of the way, got things to do. But she's invisible though, right? So people are like freaking out, and this guy thinks it's a ghost. And the first thing she says out loud, her first line is, stand aside, I have no time to lose. I mean, yeah, she was thinking here, but that doesn't count. So then she gets to a cab, and she's like, oh yeah, she gets in the back. I guess the guy didn't notice, because she's invisible after all. And then she's like, okay, thank you, I'll get out here. And she hands him the money. And to him, it looks like, obviously, the money's just floating, right? He's kind of freaking out. And then he's like, gangway, I'm out of here. And she still has the money at least, so there's that. But again, why does she have to be invisible at this point, right? Why can't, I know it's to show the audience that she's invisible, but it's kind of weird to just get to where you're going and then turn invisible when you need to be. What else? And how come her clothes turn invisible too? I don't know, bro, but anyway. Okay, so here it says, okay, so now we're in like a clothing store, and this guy in a oversized trench coat can't find anything in his size, and he's like, yeah, all these stores are the same, nothing in my size. So then the shopkeeper notices the signal outside, and this guy notices, and it's like, oh crap, yo, I gotta go. So he takes off his clothes, and what do we see? Oh, damn. It's the Thing, Ben Grimm. And this guy freaks out and just faints, poof, lands on the floor. And so, what a relief to get out of those tight rags. Thankfully, he found a underwear in his size. So he jets and he just smashes through the wall. And he's like, why must they build their doorway so narrow? And everyone's freaking out, thinking he's a monster. And then a cop takes a shot at him, but he misses. And he says his first shot missed because he was nervous, but he'll not get another chance. And then he rips a hole in the manhole. He ripped a new manhole cover and dives into the sewer. But that makes me think, wait a minute, isn't he like, I would assume that bullets wouldn't affect him, they just bounce off from, I don't know. Anyways, he's swimming in a river or poop or something like that, and then he finds his exit, or he's trying to go anyways, and he just busts out of the floor, so creating all kinds of property damage. And then this car doesn't see him coming in, just like it's wrecked. It just wrecks that car. It's a write-off. And that reminds me of some superhero movie. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was like Superman or something, where a car like just runs into him and it gets totaled. I don't remember which movie it was. But everyone's freaking out. They think he's a Martian or this and that. The cops show up, but he's gone by that point or something like that. So now we're in some kind of mechanic shop. And you see Johnny Storm inside the car, and you see a mechanic. And he says, "We got her purring gentle like a lamb, Johnny." And he says, "Good, that's the way I'd like her." And he says, "There's only one thing in the world that interests me more than cars." And I'm like, oh god, was he gonna say women or lambs or something like that? I don't know, bro. But then they see a big 4 symbol in the sky, but that's not what the symbol said, or the signal said before. So I'm wondering if they just didn't have enough space to draw it in there and just like, screw it, just make it a 4. But anyways, he sees that, he's like, oh, it's the signal. And then he starts the flame on or whatever, and he turns into the Human Torch. Now this guy calls him, he's like, "You're turning into Gasp, a Human Torch." Which that's how I thought he got his name, but not quite. And then he says, the thing that he's into more than cars is this. So I guess flying while on fire or something, bro, I don't know. So he totally melts the car down by flaming on. And this guy's freaking out, and I'm like, again, why didn't he get out of the car first and then flame on, you know what I mean? It's not like he was hiding his identity by doing it in there or something like that. And another question is that his car, or does he work there and he was trying to help the guy fix it? Because that's even worse if it wasn't his car. But anyway, they did all kinds of property damage right off the bat. And then, he's flying through the sky, and people see him thinking he is, first I think it's a comet, then he says it's something human. And then we see another ad here. So keep in mind when I said, what was the target audience for these ads and these comics? I would think they're kids, right? But a lot of them are about, like, making money and getting a job. It says, "Important news for the man who needs a good job, more money, and greater security." And this was, 1961, so obviously, like, it was geared towards men getting jobs and not women, but, different time. So this is like an air conditioning and refrigeration course where you can learn how to repair this stuff at home, and they'll give you, like, equipment and stuff like that. CTR home training is easy, fast, proven. Why many students earn cash as they train. How to start a business of your own. Letters prove the value of CTI training. Opportunities are great for a fresh start. Makes me wonder how many people actually did this and became a repair person, but facsimile advertisement no longer valid. You don't see. But anyway, thought that was interesting. So now what's happening? Okay, so the mayor calls in the National Guard. Meanwhile, Washington sends some jets to deal with the Human Torch, but the jets get too close and they just melt. So again, more damage, more property damage. But luckily, all the pilots, it's like G.I. Joe, they all escape with parachutes safely. And then he notices a Hunter missile that's heading towards him. And it has a nuclear warhead on it. I don't know how you would know that, but it does. So I'm like, damn, they didn't waste any time pulling out the nukes. Once again, different time. So I guess after the Human Torch, is on fire or whatever for long enough, he, like, loses power because he seems to, like, just being Jack's arms stretch up and grab the missile, and he throws it into the sea. Remember that? I guess it explodes in the sea, but I guess it's safer there. But remember the whole thing about the sea. We'll get back to that. So you can see Johnny. I was gonna say Johnny Storm. Yeah, Johnny Storm, falling out of the sky, and Mr. Fantastic uses his stretch power to like save him, and he brings him inside. He's like, "You're safe now." And now that they're all assembled, it's like, "Okay, I got a job for you." But before we get there, we sit back to the past to get their origin story. So this is before, obviously, and there you see them. And so basically, this is during the space race, and they developed this rocket, and they want to be the first to go into space before the Russians do, or she's as Sue says, the commies. But Ben Grimm is like, we haven't tested it enough. We don't know the effects of cosmic rays. You could kill us all or whatever. And then Sue calls him a coward. And he gets upset and he smashes the desk there. And he's like, okay, let's do it. Screw it. So yeah, I guess Ben Grimm's the pilot, and Dr. Reed Richards, I guess, is a scientist who developed the rocket or worked on it. And then he's like, Susan, Ben, and I know what we're doing, but you and Johnny. And then she's like, don't say it, Reed. I'm your fiance. Where you go, I go. And I'm tagging along with Sis, so it's settled. So I guess that's to establish that, they're sisters, and she's engaged to Reed Richards. But it's kind of funny that they're tagging along, but they have no experience, or they're not astronauts or whatever, but it's kind of funny. Okay, and then we have, so this part kind of confused me. So they're sneaking onto this rocket, so like they're doing it in secret. That's kind of weird. They're essentially stealing the rocket. I mean, yeah, I guess he worked on it or whatever, but still, rockets don't really work in a way that you could just take off with it, on your own. It takes a whole crew to on the ground and everything, mission control, blah blah blah. But whatever, it's comic, whatever. Who cares? So anyway, they blast off. And yeah, so they're, I guess, going into space, and again, Ben is like worried about the cosmic rays, and they keep going higher, and then all of a sudden, it's like, hear that? It's the cosmic rays. I warned you about them. So you can see all the rays, and then suddenly they start getting all messed up, and you can see Johnny Storm's having a hot flash or something. He's burning up, and then Ben Grimm collapses, and he's like, feels like his body's getting really heavy and he can't move. And then the rocket's autopilot lands back to Earth. Some pretty advanced tech right there. And then it's like, oh my god, thank god we're alive. And then let's see. Like, oh, I wonder if the rays affected us in any way. And then of course just then Susan starts to disappear. She's like, oh my god, you're fading away. It's almost like she's getting, dusted or snapped or whatever you want to call it. And they're like, oh my god, the cosmic rays somehow turn you invisible. I'm like, oh my god, how long is this gonna last? And then thankfully, boom, she comes back just like that. And then we see this very creepy ad. Again, it's about work and making money. It says, will you work Saturday mornings for $5 to $20 extra? It's not $5 to $20 extra per hour, by the way. This is like $5 to $20 extra. Yeah, it's a long time ago, inflation, blah blah blah. And you see this creepy dude with a box of shoes. I guess those are the shoes of all his victims or something. No, I'm kidding. But it's like this paradigm shoe business can make big money for you. And he has a creepy grin. So I guess they would send you a kit, and like they'll say, okay, don't invest a cent, that we give you a free selling outfit. Okay, but I'm assuming you have to buy the shoes, the stock, the inventory. It's just funny that they're associating selling shoes with money, because I think of Murray the Children when I think of shoe salesman, and he's known for not making that much money. But anyway. Okay, so now Ben Grimm is trying to give Reed Richards a lot of lip about putting them in danger of the cosmic rays and blah blah blah. And then Reed Richards is like, yeah, I've had about enough of your lip. You better shut the hell up. He didn't say it in those words. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bash your face in. Not in those words. But then he starts to change. flame, I guess, and then he swings this, or just breaks off this tree branch here, and he swings it at Richards, and he dodges it, but you can see he turns to his, like, stretchy form, and then he stretches his arms around him and wraps him up. He's like, what am I doing? What happened to me, to all of us? And then, so Johnny Storm gets all hot and bothered, and he turns into his flame, and he flies around a little bit. He's like, oh my god, I can fly. And then they just sit there and think about it, and then Reed Richards says, listen to me, all of you, that means you two, Ben. Together we have more power than any humans have ever possessed. And then Ben says, you don't have to make a speech, big shot. We understand we gotta use that power to help mankind, right? And Reed Richards like, right, Ben, right. So then, they put their hands in, and then, what's his name? Johnny Storm was like, I'm calling myself the Human Torch. That's why I was weird before when the other guy was like, you're some kind of Human Torch. But anyway, and then she's like, I'm gonna call myself the Invisible Girl, and then, Ben's gonna call himself the Thing, and then Reed Richards gonna call himself Mr. Fantastic, and boom, there they are. And so was born the Fantastic Four, and from that moment on, the world would never again be the same. Okay, the Fantastic Four meet Mole Man. That's not Mole Man, but it's like a mini cover here, but I need to ignore that, I guess. So, okay, now we're back in the present. And it says, and now having met her for amazing characters, let us resume our tale. Okay, that wasn't necessary. So he shows them the pictures of different atomic plants around the world, and there's been like a big cave-in for some reason. I got another one of these ads where it's just like random weird products that you can get. Pretty typical of the time. Okay. So they showed there's one in Australia, one in South America, and using their high-tech equipment, there's like, there's another cave-in's about to happen in French Africa. So you see some soldiers there, rumble, 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 and you see like it's a big cave-in here, and it's like, it's an earthquake, but you're in the desert, impossible. I didn't know earthquakes can happen in the desert. Like, why can't they happen in the desert? I see no reason why. Anyway, and then it starts to rumble again, and this whole facility caves in. I was like, yo, what the hell is that thing? So this big beast comes out from the hole. I guess that's the beast, or monster, whatever that's on the cover. And he makes short work of their tanks and weapons, or whatever they are. And then you see this little guy here from a distance, and he says, enough, return to Earth's core. Our mission here is finished, go. And it says, for even such a monster heeds its master, a master known as the Mole Man. Alright, so we get introduced to a villain. Okay, so yeah, this like, oh yeah, another cave-in happened in French Equatorial Africa. And then somehow he's like, oh, it's between these 2 or 3 locations. Monster Isle is the source of the problem. And the thing is, like, Monster Isle, that's just a fairy tale. There's no such place. But apparently there is. So they show up in their fancy whip. And there it is. And they're landing. And there's Monster Island. So they're climbing up the main mountain in the middle there. And then they see some eyes in the dark, I guess from inside, and boom, the 3-headed beast emerges. So Sue turns invisible, which confuses one of the heads, and then Mr. Fantastic uses his own arm as a lasso, and lassos his head, and poof, they go into the sea again. So first they put the nuclear warhead in the sea, then they put this monster in the sea. Let's see if there's going to be another one. So then suddenly, the floor caves in between Mr. Fantastic and Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and they're falling. And luckily he turns his body into like a parachute, so they sail down nice and safe. Nice and safe. So now they're on the bottom of this seemingly endless pit, and the guy can't see anything. And I'm like, why didn't you just flame on? You'd be able to see at least. But he finds like a trap door, and then suddenly a blinding wake up wearing these weird costumes. It's like, what the hell's going on? And a voice says, so you have recovered, have you? It's about time. And then boom, the reason you cannot see is you are blinded by the glare from the valley of diamonds. Diamonds. And there he is, as for me, I am the Mole Man. So it's Hans Mole Man, basically, from The Simpsons. Actually, it kind of looks like Spock there. Old Spock. He's got some funky glasses on. Now check out this ad. This is interesting. Boys 12 or older, here's a swell way to make $1 to $5 weekly. Oh no, this wasn't the cool ad. Oh, this is okay. They're just selling some newspaper grit. This is the one I was talking about. Reward $2,000 for this coin, an 1804 silver dollar. They would buy from you for $2,000. I'm like, they can't be worth that much, right? So I looked online. Well, first of all, $2,000, like in today's dollars, would be about something like $20,000 to $25,000. And I'm like, okay, there's no way this thing is worth that much. So I looked it up, and today an 1804 silver dollar goes between $2 and $7 million, according to Google. Now, still with inflation, they would have, like, if this ad was today, they would have tried to buy it off you for $20,000, essentially, and try to sell it for $2 to $7 million. But I know, maybe the value of the coin increased more than, much faster than inflation. I guess that's possible. But still, like, if they're trying to buy it for $2,000 back then, they would probably sell it for like at least $10,000. But who knows? Anyway, just thought that was interesting. I have a silver dollar. I have to try to find it. I wonder. I doubt it's from that year, but is it? Did it say here why it's so rare? Oh yeah. That particular silver dollar, 19,000 were minted and only 12 were accounted for. So that's pretty crazy. That's why it's so rare. I mean, so valuable. Okay, anyway, now we're back on the surface, and this rock creature is like creeping up behind Susan Storm, and Ben Grimm sees it. He's like, oh, hell no. He takes off his coat, so he's ready for some serious business here. Unfortunately, he does not say it's clobbering time, so I don't know when he first says that. But he just punches him once, picks him up, and then once again, he tosses him into the sea. They're obsessed with the sea or something like that, bro. I don't know. But down he goes. I guess putting him in the sea is like a non-violent way of showing that they're defeated, I guess. But anyway. So they're like, okay, we gotta find the others. And now we're in Mole Man's crib here, and he's just chilling on his couch. And he says, so you have never before heard of the Mole Man, eh? Well, soon the world shall hear of me. For soon the Mole Man will have the entire world in his power. It's like, yo, how did you get this crib, man? What's the rent like? Didn't say that exactly, but so he tells his origin story, and he's like, yeah, basically because of his appearance, he couldn't get dates, he couldn't get jobs, stuff like that. Everyone made fun of him. So he's like, screw this, I'm gonna go find my own thing. And he's trying to find, I guess, the center of the earth. So I guess this Mole Man's lair is in the center of the earth. I don't know, bro, but he stumbled upon a cave, he fell down, and the fall caused him to lose most of his vision. And he's like, I was stranded here like a human mole, hence Mole Man. I thought like the diamonds would be the reason why he eventually lost most of his vision, but anyway. And then, so he's stuck under there, so he made his own empire, and he took control of all the monsters that were in there. And he's saying he's kind of like, Daredevil, where he can like, even though he can barely see, he can like, whatever, use his other senses or whatever, right? So he demonstrates, he gives a stick to, I guess that's Reed, and then they're fighting, and he's dodging all of his attacks, and he wins that battle. And then basically his plan is to destroy all the power sources of the humans and then eventually take over Earth. But it doesn't make sense why he's attacking only atomic power plants. What about the other power plants? I don't know, bro. I thought there'd be more of a reason of why they were caving in the atomic plants, but whatevs. So then, okay, the Thing and Invisible Girl show up, but then the Mole Man rings some bell or something and summoning the creature. So that's that creature again who's on the cover. So Chinese Storm flames on, burns through his costume, and he's flying around this dude trying to defeat him. Reed Richards takes his ridiculous outfit off and stretches and grabs Mole Man. And then they're trying to take off and get out of here, get back to the surface, and he keeps ringing some bell out of nowhere, I don't know. Summoning more and more creatures who are chasing them. But somehow it's not quite clear, but Chinese Storm kind of causes the roof to collapse, like the rocks and stuff to create like an avalanche. And they're able to escape, but it traps all the monsters and Mole Man inside the mountain. So they go in their whip and they take off. And then they see that the island behind them explodes. So that like he destroyed the entire isle. He sealed himself below forever. It's best that way. There was no place for him in our world. Perhaps he'll find a peace down there. I hope so. I just hope we have seen the last of him. And then it says, but whether we've seen the last of Mole Man or not, we will see much more of the most amazing quartet in history in the next great issue of the Fantastic Four. Don't miss it. So there you go. There's the very first issue. But we also have one more ad, well, two more technically. Test Your Talent contest prize, $495, which is quite a bit back then. Scholarship in commercial art. So I guess you have to draw. It says draw either one of the Civil War soldiers, Union or Confederate. It's kind of weird. But is what it is. It's a couple more typical ads here. Learn radio and television electronics by practicing at home in your spare time. Again, another thing about careers are making money. I guess it was tough times. And then some ad about he's looking for people who like to draw. Albert Dorn, possibly the greatest money maker in the history of commercial art. At the height of his career, he began full-time search for people who like to draw. I guess some kind of course or something, I don't know, bro. Anyway, yeah, there was the first issue. It was a lot of fun. I like the art. It's something I find interesting about the old style artwork, and I know it doesn't compare to modern comics and stuff like that, like in terms of storyline and stuff, but I love looking back at this old retro stuff, and I'm super looking forward to the movie that's coming out soon. Maybe I'll let you guys know my thoughts once I've seen it.